So do we know? I think we might. Brilliant. Okay. Well, first of all, really excited to be here. So my name's Drew Mellor, and I've got Phil Broadhead, our deputy leader of the council with us. We're the new leader and deputy leader of the council, and effectively we're here because there's been a change of leadership at the council where some of our colleagues voted for what we see as a bit of a reset. There's a lot of good work has been done before, and this is one of the excellent initiatives put forward. And I'd like to just take this opportunity first to thank councillors Vicky Slade and Mark Howe for effectively having put a huge amount of effort into BCP over the last 16 months. One of the things I did say when we stood up in council is we very much want to put residents at the heart of the council, and this initiative is a really big part of that. In us effectively being able to listen and have questions. So we're really pleased to continue with it. I'll just be really brief in terms of some of the key things we're actually going to focus on in terms of our reset agenda, and they're quite simple because effectively we just want to bring back a real sense of pride around our place and an ambition for our area and our people. We're bringing forward a 100-day plan which we'll be communicating more about over the next week. Items in it, things like antisocial behaviour, cleanliness. We're trying to raise standards. We believe that our town centres and our place should have the opportunities to be safe places to live and work. I think Phil is the portfolio holder for Regeneration economy, and Phil will let you discuss about what you're doing. My particular area is of finance and transformation. It's a council of the future type thing, but we're really excited to hear what and answer any of the questions you've got. Phil.
Yeah, thanks. No, Drew said it all. We're here for half an hour, and I think this has been something that's worked really well to date. So you've got the option in the message bar to ask any questions of us. I'll try and use the mouse to kind of keep an eye, and we'll be hopefully be able to answer any questions you've got. Equally, it's a good opportunity for us to start setting out what we think's important. Drew's mentioned kind of pride and making sure that people are proud to live where we are and our streets are clean and safe. But also, we live in a really exciting area. We've traditionally had one of the fastest growing economies for a few years. We need to keep that going. We've got some massive redevelopment opportunities, which help to, it helps to regenerate our area and make it, again, a place that we're proud to live. And I'm quite happy to give a flavour of some work that's going on those. But as Drew said, really, now's the opportunity to ask any questions you have of us. And we'll try and answer most of them, but we'll certainly give it a go. And again, we're trying not to be too formal. So, we're here as a team, and we've got a really good team behind us in all the council. So really, we just want to listen to you. So I'm going to try and use this to keep an eye on the questions. And
first one, Gary Livemill's asked effectively. It's good to see these sessions continuing. We're going to have keep the pattern that was before, which is every 2 weeks. We're going to try and do it so you're going to see more than just a leader. So it'll be leader, deputy leader, some theme sessions. So hopefully that'll be useful to open up more of a council to it. Got a question about the fact that why we're here and in terms of the need for by-elections. We were really pleased, to support, to secure some cross-party support, and effectively, 40 people to 33, 40 councillors to 33. We believe there needed to be a change. We're not going to throw away a lot of the good work of the previous administration, but we do believe that we've got an opportunity to try and move the agenda forward. So,
yeah, and look, part of that is doing by showing as well. So we're already working with councillors from all the different parties. That work will continue. We'll be announcing shortly our ideas about bringing lead members in, member champions, so that really all of the councillors from all of the parties are involved, because we're a big area, and it's not just BCP are a few letters. That doesn't really indicate the area that we live in, which stretches from Highcliffe, Burton to Broadstone and Turley Moor, as somebody's put on there as well. So there's a great number of areas, and we're already working really closely with all of the councillors and hope to continue to do so in the future.
One question we've got is around COVID. That question, BCP is a COVID-19 hotspot, and the third highest cases in the southwest. So why aren't we in the higher tier? Really good question, and we all saw the fact we've now got, and to be clear, there's now 3 tiers nationally. So medium, high, and then the top tier. Effectively, we're in the medium tier. Our number of cases is going up, and it's going up quicker than we would like it. But effectively, that's 93 cases per 100,000 of population, which is still clearly below the England average. So there's real work to do. It's a community piece. We've all got to take that responsibility to do it. But at the moment, all of the cases are relatively self-contained into households, work settings, and we're not seeing that real community transmission, which would be more worrying. So it's something we've got to stay really vigilant on. But at the moment, we're in control compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah, I mean, we can't be complacent, and that's why the messages that everyone keeps putting out is wash your hands, cover your face, certainly in all enclosed areas, and keep space, because we've been doing a lot of work with local businesses this week, and it's really clear that they're let's be honest, things aren't going to get any better for the next 6 months, are they? So we need to really make sure that we're trying to support local businesses, but at the same time keeping safe, keeping vigilant. We've got the 3 tiers. We're in the medium at the moment. If we all pull together, we can stay there. But I think this is not the council's responsibility to help. That's Public Health Dorset, and they're a fantastic team. And we now have a cabinet member who has really special responsibility for COVID as well, so that we can keep a close eye on it. And actually, a tremendous amount of work is happening behind the scenes. So if anything does change, and as Drew said, that community transmission changes, because that's the important bit. You can have isolated hotspots, which is worrying, but not a problem that is kind of out of control. If that changes, then we're ready to act really quickly, but it's down to everyone.
Okay, I've got a question from Chris Ashton Hollis. Why did you only select Conservative councillors? That's not very inclusive. I'd agree. I actually agree with that. Effectively, what I did try and do, we've reached out repeatedly. I actually approached the leadership of the council, back in March, saying this actually isn't a time for politics. This is a time for the whole councillor base coming together and working together. So then we've reached out, formally to the Liberal Democrats who rejected working with us and wanted to offer them some seats on cabinet. We've reached out to the Christchurch Independents and those who might have seen the speech I made immediately on becoming leader. It was a very clear offer to Christchurch to come and work with us. Sadly, for reasons that they're better explaining, they've decided not to do that. Either of those groups. What we are doing is we've brought forward. We've got a cabinet of 10. I'm bringing forward 6 lead members. One of the things we really want to do is make a better use of the councillor base, and actually take some real priority areas for us forward. So we've already announced 3. So we've got a lead member for homelessness, lead member for equalities, and a lead member for engagement. What we're looking to do shortly is bring forward the following 3, and it's my ambition and commitment that some of those roles will be from members outside of the Conservative group.
Yeah, question from Gary Sherborne about Boscombe and the regeneration there, which is really apt because we had a meeting on this yesterday. We've managed to, we've been invited to bid for some funds from national government around that regeneration of Boscombe. We had a meeting yesterday to kind of look at finalising some of that. Got to admit, it's quite exciting, and actually we're getting a very good, strong indication from government that we're pretty top of the list there, and that will really help us to look at the High Street in particular and regenerate all of that, whilst making sure that we've got sustainable travel in there, and that's at the heart of it as well. Gary mentioned that, that's at the expense of Lansdowne. It's not quite the case. That's also happening, and we'll have some more plans to announce on Lansdowne soon as well, because obviously we've got some funds for there. So there's quite a lot of exciting things happening in regeneration. We're obviously going to have some slightly different priorities. So the last couple of weeks we've been really trying to get to grips with making sure that it's heading in the right direction, but importantly we're talking to local people and local councillors first, because I think that's something that we've heard before, that not enough local people have been involved in the decision making. That's pretty key. But yeah, there's some pretty exciting stuff happening, and watch this space.
Yeah, thank you. Got a question from Caroline Dawn, who says, please reopen the roads, especially Birdshill and Churchfield Road. So many issues for emergency workers, emergency services, were not notified and do not have keys to the barriers. I see a few questions coming up in terms of these emergency travel schemes. One thing we will be coming forward in the next 48 hours with some real clarity around those schemes. Obviously, a massive strength of feeling for and against a lot of them. We've been really clear all along that we're absolutely not anti-active travel. We're really keen on on effectively working out how we can use various different means of getting around accommodation, and pedestrian and cyclist is certainly one of them, and two of them. But what we want to do is make sure it's much more community-based decisions. So what we're going to be coming forward with is much more listening to residents and the local councillors. So some of those schemes hugely unpopular, and we feel will be an issue with keeping. Some we're going to we think need to be modified. If we listen to the public and some of the local councillors, it's an opportunity to modify them and still have to finish off a 6 month. The minimum 6 month trial, and some we think are great, and worth, moving forward with. So that will be coming out soon, certainly this week. So effectively, what's your space on the specific schemes? But that's a general point. We're going to make councillors much more accountable to their communities by effectively, leading their communities to deliver feedback on these schemes.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And Jenny Dobtini has brought that issue up as well about cancelling things without people being informed or questioned. The issue we had before with a lot of these schemes is that many people felt it was forced on them without consultation with business. So we've been doing as much work as we can to have a proper look at those and make sure that everyone's just involved in the process. Equally, if there are some that it's really obvious really quickly aren't working or are having effects, then in consultation, particularly with the ward councillors. I think that's Councillor Mark Green is the new cabinet member in terms of transportation. Somebody's put on there that all Tories are anti-cyclists. I can tell you, Mark Green probably cycles more than anybody I know. I think him and his wife did 1,000 miles in the last 2 weeks, which is just showing off, if you ask me. But a lot of work's going into it. So we'll have something to announce shortly. But we're certainly very, very in favour of sustainable travel. It's got to be a bigger picture, though, hasn't it? When previous to the new council being setting up, many of us were involved in the Transforming Cities Fund, Transforming Travel, which really looks at how we get across the whole area. Because I don't know about you, but I think we've almost stumbled into a position now where the towns that we have are almost like a city in everything but name, but we haven't really got the infrastructure to cope. You don't fix that by quick fixes. You fix it by doing it properly, and we've got some money from government. So making sure it's all joined up as well is really important, because there's no use in closing a road to help a cyclist, but then actually having knock-on issues that affect the whole area. It's got to be done in the round.
Yeah, and also thanks, Bill. There's a number of questions, more directed sort of at me personally, and some of them things that have been reported around effectively, sort of my professional career, my business career. So if I'll actually, it's really useful to have the opportunity to answer them. So there's quite a lot of misinformation, effectively. So for instance, it's been one of the things that one of the Liberal councillors tried to bring up effectively was that I've been made bankrupt in the past, which is not true. Absolutely isn't. My wife and I are involved in a number of businesses, and we're really proud to now we employ north of 200 people. Significant turnover. Real good contributor in terms of society. And two of the businesses that I was a minority shareholder in, significant period of time ago, did go into liquidation, which my personal view is actually councils have a little bit more of a commercial focus and some business experience in them isn't actually a bad thing. It's often the things that you've tried and haven't worked which help shape what you are able to do. So was I a bit disappointed in the tone of the politics that the Liberals, the effectively nasty personal politics that the Liberal Democrat Party wanted to do? Yes, does it matter? Not really, because most of that isn't true. So you're very happy to be very open and transparent with all of that. I hope people don't mind me going into some detail on it. But we want to start this off with trust and effectively, who I am as a person. We're really proud, effectively where I've come from in terms of my background. Good, worked hard, good education, good job, been an entrepreneur. Now it's it's pretty undeniably a successful story. We're all on a journey though, so hopefully that's useful to some people who wanted to hear about that.
For those that are just joining, welcome. I'm Phil Broadhead, Deputy Leader. This is Drew Mellor, the new leader of BCP Council. We're here to answer your questions, so if you're interested, we're trying our best. There's loads, so it's all swishing through, so we're trying our best to answer them. But we do also have the council team on hand, so if there are any questions that we don't get to answer, because frankly we're not going to be able to answer them all, don't worry, we're going to try and deal with some of them outside as well. I've got a specific one from Mark White about Cllr Recreation Ground and the development there. Again, this is something I've tried to get to grips with really, really quickly this week as the cabinet member for Regeneration. And again, it's not all my job. We have to work with your local team, your local councillors. So I've been working with Mike White, Julie Bagwell and Dan Butt, who are the local councillors there, and made very clear to the team that's been doing a lot of the work that has probably ticked away too quickly that we probably need to push pause on that and talk to local people first. It's difficult at the moment because we're in these COVID times. It's all very well saying, oh, actually, we'll just do consultation by sticking a quiz or something online. But to me, that doesn't feel like listening to people and actually engaging with people properly. So I've agreed with the ward councillors that we really, really need to do some work on that, not just Cllr, but that's all the sites, because we're actually really fortunate. We've got some fantastic regeneration sites coming, which will help our economy, help the area, help our housing numbers, because the housing numbers are an issue. So everything from the new Holes Bay site that we now own, which is a massive opportunity, all the way to the other side of the conurbation and some of the big sites like Winter Gardens in Bournemouth and beyond. We want to do these, we want to use it as an opportunity, but we want to make sure that people are on the journey with us. So on the Cllr one in particular, pretty much the first thing I've done in consultation with ward councillors is said, let's just pause, let's talk to people first before we do anything, because there's some issues there that need resolving. But equally, I think a lot of people are positive about something happening. So that's that one in particular, but a heck of amount of work we've got to do with bringing people on the journey with things that are happening in your area, because it's too easy for things to happen and there's been no local involvement.
Brilliant, thanks, Phil. I've got a question for from Anne Cassell, which I've just lost, but effectively, so thanks for that, Phil. We should both have these.
Keep doing that.
So it was effectively on the climate declaration, and just to be really clear, we both voted for that. Or, our Conservative group en masse voted for that. We're hugely passionate about it. Where my personal view in terms of this is, there was a lot of good, discussion, from the previous administration about this. There needs to be more action. If we're signing up to this, we've actually got to do it. That's the crux of it. I've put a portfolio holder of sustainability, transport and sustainability. So we've got more than just the environment portfolio holder, driving this. I think I speak for both of us when I say our view is that you've got a cabinet of 10 who are absolutely committed to the climate agenda. One thing we brought up historically as a budget challenge, effectively, was community municipal bonds, and that's a way of actually unlocking significant amounts of money potentially to invest in this stuff. So completely up for it, Anne. Thank you very much for your question. We want to be held to account on it, but we actually want to do something that improves our environment, and is an absolute commitment from us to do that.
So a lot of questions coming through about COVID. For those that missed the beginning, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, particularly with Public Health Dorset. The most up-to-date figures that we've had, and it changes on an almost hourly basis, is that we're under 100 cases per 100,000 at the moment, it's still too much, but equally, you look at the national figures, and the Southwest continually seems to be behind. Of course, what keeps happening is that it keeps going up, but then so does everyone else. So it never looks as bad as everyone else, but it's still quite a lot. So, we're continuing to urge people to follow those, face, hands and space guidelines, and take, responsibility. Everyone's in this together, but equally some assurance that a lot of work is going on behind the scenes to make sure that everything is in place. And it's not just what the council can do, it's also making sure that we're trying to support our local economy as well. It's a scary time for everyone. There's been a few questions that I've seen about things like the hospitality industry, which in our area is really, really important. Drew and I have both had some really high-level meetings with a lot of people from the hospitality sector this week about how not just we can keep pushing government to look at packages to support, but also what we can do locally. I'm doing my bit and trying to eat out as much as I can, COVID safe, obviously. But no, in all seriousness, we do have to be vigilant, but be very mindful that we want to have some economy at the end of this and keep optimism about our place as well.
Yeah, and just on that, we had a question talking about an updated number around the COVID piece. So just to be clear, the 93 number of 100,000 was Monday's number. It is updated. It's updated regularly. We're still beneath the England average, and and Wednesday we were put into the lowest tier, the median bracket. Had a question from Susan Jeff related to how we contact the council. Phones, can we have more staff on phones? We've had a massive issue, across the authority when people, through COVID, haven't been able to come and see, haven't come and get in front of people. A huge amount of stuff's gone online, which is great. This stuff is brilliant, really useful. Council meetings, much more accessible to people. But there is an issue in terms of how the public can contact us, for day-to-day services. One of the things we said, effectively was it's fundamental to us that we'll cut across everything. Residents will be at the heart. So we really need to turn this into a customer service organisation. One of my portfolio areas is transformation, and we're looking at ways we can actually transform services like the library to actually put more of our customer front facing piece into where we've already got community operations like libraries. So you're going to be seeing a lot more from us. Opening up more services more locally, so people will be able to effectively engage with the council. And that's why one of the councillors that we put as a lead member is engagement. It's fundamental. Jane Kelly. So please link in with Jane if there's ways that we can actually do that better and engage better.
Thanks. A question from James Winchester on Remembrance Day parades, which is quite important. It's looking very likely at the moment that there won't be any formal physical events, certainly at the war memorials at the moment, but we're already looking at ways that we can commemorate in a slightly different way. So I know that the individual mayors of our towns are looking at how they can do things. I know that there's some things going on about kind of digital celebrations and things as well. So just because we're constricted by COVID doesn't mean that remembrance ceremonies aren't going to be high up there, but just like everything in a slightly different way. There was also a question from Nicole Riley, which really harks back to what we opened up for those that are just joining us with, about the number of thefts and burglaries and general antisocial behaviour. She talks about Southbourne, but other areas. It's been a massive commitment for us. Drew, as leader with his team, is meeting every morning now. Every morning. That's how serious now. Every Monday morning with the chief constable
and the police and crime commissioner.
Yeah. Just to make sure. And we've said that pride in our towns and getting to grips with that is a priority, because I've been out recently in all areas from Poole High Street, Bournemouth High Street, and Christchurch, and we're trying to support our businesses, and we're trying to make sure we can get through this pandemic and come out the other end in a positive way. It doesn't help when it doesn't feel safe and it doesn't feel clean, and we don't have that pride. The police have been really good. We've been working closely with them, match funding in some ways, so that's a huge priority, and we're going to be, hopefully you'll see the reaction and the on the ground as soon as possible.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Phil. And a number of questions around effectively, town centres and the pride piece. So hopefully, that absolute commitment to that is answering some of them. Got a question, a number of questions from Emma Williams around housing. So this is a real priority area for us in terms of we're actually trying to increase housing stock, and with our homelessness lead member, make sure there's better pathways and more immediate pathways in and around housing. I thank publicly the previous portfolio holder for housing who spent an hour and a half with me yesterday. So really appreciated his time, effectively handing over some of the really excellent stuff that team has done. There's a lot more to do, and it's all well and good us saying that there's a political priority, but now we've got to deliver on it. So it's about unlocking, both that service, but also the money that needs to support it. So yeah.
Jade says, we've talked all about Pride, we've talked about businesses, but what about the NHS? Well, again, one of the very first meetings that Drew and I had as the leader and deputy leader was with our new, with our NHS, and in particular, we're very proud that we've now got a university hospital status from our hospitals. So not only have they got a load of extra money from government to really bring up the level of our hospitals in the area, but they've also now got that university hospital status as well. It's a great catalyst, because anything we can do to improve our hospital offering is obviously fantastic. We'll be working really closely with them, but it's also opened up, certainly as a priority for us, some really interesting conversations about the Wessex Fields land that we've got and how we're going to be working together with the universities and the hospitals. We've already had aspirations about really more science parks and using our digital innovation rather than just creating business parks. And one of our first meetings was around that, and some really exciting plans being drawn up hopefully quite quickly there. But they're great partners. The council has to work with the NHS and the CCG and our universities, because we've got all the ingredients in the area. And the more that we work together, the more that we, once we get through the pandemic, make sure that we're set up for a future that could be really exciting.
Yeah, thank you. So again, I think we're getting a lot coming back in terms of the pride and the antisocial behaviour message. Lynn Wootton has thanks for the reply. So can the council pay for more policing than if the Rangers can't cope? So we're in the process of building something together with the Chief Constable and the Police and Crime Commissioner, which we effectively will, what our aspirations, we will have more yellow jackets on the streets. Part of that will be funded through us, by us reprioritising, CSAS officers, rangers. So we are making a commitment to put more of those people, on our streets. I've had an excellent discussion so far, with the Chief Constable about how they're going to look to match fund that, and we look forward to bring the detail, forward on it. But it's an absolute priority, and we're going to make it happen. One of the really key things for me in our 100-day piece is around saying, well, actually, we can't just talk about it. It's got to tangibly look and feel different. The streets have to feel cleaner. Have to look cleaner. And they have to feel safer. And that's a commitment. It's not just in our town centres. It's actually in it's in the wider communities. From places like Charminster as well, which we need to really have more ambition. For that.
Try not to shy away from the difficult questions as well. Gordon Kinghorn has put something on, and we broached it earlier on, but why, of the new cabinet that has just been created, why are none of the members of the cabinet non-conservative? Gordon, we've tried. We've made numerous offers to try and work together across all the political parties. For various reasons, they've all said no, frankly. We're not going to stop trying, and actually, as the new leader mentioned earlier on, we're creating lots of member champion role, lead member roles, which will be really important. The hope is that we can get a number of non-conservative members working there with us as well. So we want to create a council that works with as many people as possible. You can only ask so many times if you keep being said no to, but we will keep asking. Hopefully they'll stop saying no.
Yeah, got more questions, and appreciate some people weren't at the beginning. So we want to talk a little bit about the active travel schemes. So we're clear. So within the next 48 hours, that there will be a statement on this, but effectively says that we're going to make ward councillors more accountable to their residents and effectively active in the decisions, which means we expect to modify some schemes, keep some schemes, and close some schemes. So there's really clear work going on there. What we don't want to do is a few comments around effectively, not reinventing the wheel. What we want to do is pause, be really considered, and say, let's start listening to people. That wasn't done enough under the previous administration, and we're going to do it more. So we're taking that in that first 2 weeks, and I've said I want an answer on those ETROs within the first 2 weeks. we're in the process of getting one. But what it is going to be, it's going to be an answer that's listened to the public and to the ward councillors.
Yeah. A few more comments on and questions about the health crisis and things. Lorien has put something about the flu vaccines going out. Make sure you get your flu vaccines. It's really important. I've got 3 young kids. They're all having it. My wife's had it. I'm the only one that hasn't had it, actually. So got to make sure that we're as far apart as possible. But that's really important. We've got 1 minute left. So we've been trying to give as much an update about the health situation in general, particularly about COVID. Just make sure you take responsibility. Don't play with this. This is not a joke. We're doing all right compared to the rest of the country. We really don't want that to change, because as soon as we head up in the tiers, then it doesn't. Not only does it have an impact on how we all live our lives, but it has an impact on our economy as well. Drew, I think we've got time for one more question.
Yeah, fine. So Stuart Alexander as well. I'm not going to wear. Can you both wear ties next time? Apologies if you think we're.
See, I thought it'd be too much, actually. Although there's been a lot of comments about Drew's collar, which I was going to adjust, but I thought I can't get too close. But one final thing, which is a groin update, which you'll probably like, which is that we are commencing our 2-year project to replace the timber groins along the seafront. So probably not what you thought when I opened my mouth then, but it's actually just a point, isn't it? It's business as usual as well. We've got nearly 500,000 people in our area, a massive area, an awful lot to do. We've been trying to get stuck in the first 2 weeks as to some of the bigger stuff, but we're also making sure that the council is one that works for everyone.
And so to take one last question, I've got Cara Marie Bailey. We need more funding for people in need, mental health, elderly, children. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I'm not sure, if many people know, but so I've effectively been part of setting up, and I currently chair a mental health and movement charity in young kids, which is a pool-based charity, and is in a number of our Poole and Bournemouth schools. Now, it's a massive priority area. Not just in terms of children's mental health, which is has only been going one way. We spoke in June when we brought paper to council saying we needed to actually unlock some more funding and more active ways of supporting mental health. That's massive personal commitment for me. Really proud to have been involved in that, bring a lot of that great stuff forward. But it needs to be part of the council, now we will make it, we've said it be a priority. So it's about people, members at the heart of the administration, people, residents at the heart of the council, listening to people, and making sure we've got pride in our towns and ambition for our people. That's absolutely what we're going to do. You can't do that if you haven't got funding for mental health. So we're going to look forward to bringing some exciting things forward on that. Okay, thanks everybody very much for people who hopefully being engaging with us. So just to be clear, these are every 2 weeks. So we're going to keep up the pattern. We'll have different people at different points. Please bring in your suggestions. We're hopefully going to there's quite a lot around COVID. Obviously, so we might try and make the next one a bit more themes around COVID. But thank you, and we're really proud to be here. I'm really excited about it. So really good to be engaged with you, and look forward to doing more of it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.